Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Starward Rogue with the Augmented expansion. During the last part, I began my run using the Paladin mech and completed floors 1 through 3. And boy, my luck has really turned around starting from floor 2 and 3. Floor 1 was a below average level success, but following floor 2, it turned around pretty fast. But I still gotta be a bit careful so my luck doesn't turn around. I have 17 max health now, 2 key cards, 44 credits, and I learned how powerful the Paladin power shield is. I mean, you can effectively keep rapid firing at enemies, or rather being able to continuously stun lock them if you're careful, as well as mini bosses and bosses, which interrupts their bullet patterns. If you time it correctly, you can effectively permanently stun lock bosses and other enemies. Normally I would go directly for the boss, but because this is a new run, plus I really want to upgrade my max health, and I really want to get more credits for the robot shop, the health upgrade storage, and major item storage, I'll be exploring this part first, then the bottom, then the right one. However, another thing of note here is that this seems to be a gold colored floor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you were only able to access the golden floors if you succeed with a certain set of requirements, but I don't think I ever succeeded or achieved a certain set of requirements yet. But of course, from what I remember in the previous part, well, I won't be able to do this one, but back in the previous part, floor 2 had a golden sheen and all the enemy types were tougher golden configurations. So I really gotta be careful and so I don't accidentally end up killing myself. Or get killed by the enemies. Nah, I don't want increased size. None of these are pretty good, unfortunately. This, on the other hand, this is awesome. 2+ health shards. But of course, the enemies here are going to be a lot more tough and more unique. As you can see, for example, here. I mean, these projectiles follow me around. That didn't happen in the previous run. If anything, looking at these enemy types, they feel like tougher versions of the normal enemies I'd faced in earlier floors. And this confirms my suspicions that these enemy types in the golden floors are effectively tougher versions or tougher cousins of the normal enemies in regular floors. Also, the gold floor, or whatever these are called, happen at random floor configurations. I mean, this would be a lot more frightening if this was at floor 7 or something, but thankfully it isn't. And thankfully I can attack these enemies from across walls, so that's really appreciated. What do these vampire enemies do anyway? I'm confused. They seem to be able to absorb certain amounts of damage, or certain damage types, but I don't know which. Maybe those absorb green weaponry or something, like acid or poison? Maybe that's it. If there's one thing for certain, it's that I should stay keep my distance away from these enemies. Because quite a few of them can do sudden burst damage. I mean, look at the Gold Rocketeer for example. It's effectively a tougher version of the Banshee enemies. I mean, it has the same firing pattern. Thankfully, they can get stunned the same way as the regular enemies can, so I probably should be taking as much advantage of that as possible. All of these are pretty awesome upgrades, but I want to go for missiles here because they deal a lot of damage. Next, I'll have to get Brute. It seems that the dwarf enemies can fly right over the walls themselves. Seriously, what enemy is creating that flower pattern? Oh, it's just a turret. I thought it was one of these big enemies creating all those flower patterns, but no, it's just those turrets. Well, this will be useful during certain boss fights. Like this one, for example. Once I get to it, of course. And I also realized, because this is a gold floor, all of the enemies, or rather all of the pickups I'll get for this room, are going to be more unique. This also includes the boss fights, as well as the robotics shop. So I should save up my credits and keep an eye for the good stuff. Okay, Acid Queen. I guess she's the tougher version of the Red Hunter. Okay, she actually creates acid, of course. She's an Acid Queen, and oh, there's so many minions. I think my best bet is to hide around these walls, so that her minions can't reach me. I think the acid deals damage over time as well. Ooh, it's effectively a better version of the rain shower from the White Gloss, I think. And it deals a whole slew of damage, which should be awesome for other mechs, but I already have the pretty powerful power shield, which is a gold weapon as well. Did I just launch that red dwarf off screen? And I think it caused it to self-destruct immediately. I still don't know what these tiles do anyway. This would be awesome, especially combined with this, but I want more invulnerability frames. If I had something like the Rex mechs, I would honestly consider taking that. A challenge room. This is where you fight a certain configurations of, or a certain blend of enemies and defeat them to move on. So this time we fight a lot of force shields, and a lot of mines everywhere. Thankfully, because my projectile pierces through them, I can easily just pierce and hit them one by one, as you can see here. So this is really easy. Not to mention none of these enemies are gold variations of them, so it's not too bad. Especially if I get into melee range, as you can see here, then I can just directly pierce through everything. Easy peasy, though this would be a lot tougher if I didn't have piercing weapons, which happened in the previous part actually. Oh, let's see, let's try our luck. Okay, 3 health at most. Not too bad. Not too good, not too bad. This will basically make the health shards healing items. Less damage over time or more damage. Do I want to be aggressive or defensive? I'm gonna be aggressive. Oh, this enemy type, it's completely shielded by these mini orbs. And everything's being fired everywhere. And of course I can't really block that anyway, or push it back. So it's effectively a large sentry. At the very least there's a lot of walls to hide behind. And now it easily dies. It has little to no health, its health is basically tissue paper. I only have one keycard left, so I'm gonna save it for the robotic shot. That's more important. Okay, let's see here. We have 4 options. This seems like the best one because if I can clear shots and knock back the enemy, especially clearing shots, that's gonna be super useful. This would also be pretty awesome, but I don't know what it does. I guess it constantly drains enemies' health. I'll have to return here if I can accrue up to 70 credits. But of course I don't think I'll be able to reaccess this room, so unfortunately that's gonna be the best one I'll get. And it's not even a gold item, but still it's pretty good. It's still pretty good otherwise. Oh no, pinwheels. I'm getting attacked by everything possible. Not good. Oh, of course it's this thing. No wonder. I thought there were 4 different enemy types there, but of course it's just the sentry drones that were causing all this mayhem. I'm speechless. Look at all these health shard upgrade stations. Only in gold floors, or whatever this floor type is called. Thank you, level designers, this is awesome. I mean, look at it, now I have 23 max health. But I shouldn't get too haughty yet. I may end up dying accidentally if I'm not careful. Still, I'm happy, this is a lot better than what I expected this run to go. How do I get across then? I'm kind of stuck over here. There's a teleporter right over here, of course. Well, there's something new. I didn't expect meta mills. But if you destroy the center, it's completely stunned, so I guess I should just target that. Plus, with piercing weapons like this one, I can hit all of the balls at once. This would be a lot more annoying to deal with if I had something like the flamethrower, so I'm really thankful I switched back to the blade. Oh boy, projectiles everywhere. They're called wall blaster whites. Thankfully, there was a wall just positioned there so I could easily just destroy all of them. Well, I've done as much as I could on this floor, so let's fight the boss. Let's see if it's a unique one. Of course, it's Circuit Rondur, whatever it is. It's a giant... whatever that is. Oh, it's a huge... okay. Rats, we're going to be fighting a lot of these at once, it seems. Let's hope I can survive this and understand how to fight it. I seem to have dealt basically nothing to it. Well, I am dealing some damage there. Okay, I need to get right up to it if I want to deal anything. Thankfully, it can never really break through each of the blocks. This is still annoying because it can never destroy the red follower. So it just goes through the track, it chooses which direction to go too. Okay, after defeating the big circuit, we have the circuit buddy. I was a bit frightened there of getting hit by the giant ball over there. I thought I was going to get insta-gibbed. Apparently, the 100% damage bonus to the missiles is super powerful. I think this is going to be more useful. It effectively adds one of the features from the Crimson Moon, that being the health scavenging. But boy, that boss fight was a little bit nerve-wracking. Especially because I have to be up close in order to deal an optimal amount of damage to it. At the very least, even though I lost quite a bit of health, or at least 5 or 6 health, I saved up enough health upgrades here, or health pickups that I can pick them all up, and be all set for going to the next floor. Also, running on top of those red tiles does injure me. Unfortunately, I don't have enough credits to go back to the shop, so it's time to enter Floor 5. Floor 4 was certainly a step up in difficulty from Floor 3, and in some ways, I'd say that Floor 5 is going to be easier, even with the Warden encounter upcoming. In fact, it's because it's a normal floor as well. But of course, this is going to be a larger floor, so Because I have nothing more to say about this until I get to the boss fights, I'll be silent. Well, I've completed floor 5 and here's everything I got. I decided to not take the health upgrade over here because I'll lose one shield. And as you know, shields get a lot better as you go deeper and deeper into the game. So I want to keep my shield. Otherwise, I think this floor was pretty well. Much easier than what floor 4 was with all the projectiles and crazy enemy types. So that's a plus. Too bad there's no other robotic shop. And I decided to pay a visit to the sacrificial shop and get the doubling the crit chance or doubling the crit damage. That's going to be super useful. And I already have 21 health anyway, so a measly 3 max HP cost isn't that bad anyway. Alright, let's try this fight. What I'm worried about is the melee range of the sword. It doesn't deal enough damage to fight with really tough bosses. The blaze turrets I'm not really that concerned about. I'm mostly concerned about the final phases of this fight, because it's not really conclusive to short range fighting. Okay, first down, now the boss itself. This is where problems start coming along because dodging these projectiles can be quite a pain. Especially when they start bouncing all over the place. And as you can see, unless I can get really close to the enemy where my melee strikes are, I can't really deal a lot of damage. It's really low. For this, the flamethrower, or rather the Warhog shotgun, would be a much better option. And shield bashing this enemy is way too inconsistent, especially with the hitboxes this has. Okay, phase 3. Thank you, bot. As you can see here, melee damage deals a lot more. Okay, fourth phase. This is where things get a little bit more crazy. If I run out of my shield, I'll just run face first into the center of this boss, as such, and I'll create the meteorite right over there, so all the meteorites, or at least most of them, will hit the boss. So it's going to constantly deal quite a bit of damage. I know it's kind of an exploit, but damage boosting for the win. And I have missiles everywhere too, so I probably should be utilizing them. Okay, now the boss is following me around. Good. As long as you can keep a close enough range and not take too much damage, I'll be fine. I'm almost done. Unfortunately, the melee range, I wish there was an upgrade to increase it. Probably there is, but I haven't gotten it. Wonderful, oh my goodness. Kill the final boss with Paladin mech, thank goodness. This would be awesome because now I can destroy the missile blocks and get as many health shard upgrades as possible. But I already have enough health shards, or rather max health, so instead I'll get more max shields. That's going to be super useful throughout this run, so I'll definitely take it. Boy, that was a hectic encounter. I really should have taken the Warhog shotgun instead. I've come to a decision. I'll be replacing my Phantom Blade with the Warhog shotgun. Sure, it doesn't have much spread, but it has the same amount of range, and honestly, I don't think I'll be able to fight the souped up Terminus using the Phantom Blade. It doesn't deal enough damage at range, and going at melee range is too risky for most of these boss fights. I'll lose access to the increased melee damage ability, but I think it's well worth it and it'll provide better survivability in the long run. Plus, I still will have access to my power shield, so it isn't too bad. The phase module was super useful, as well as the shield, as you saw over there. Unfortunately, I can't shield bash those types of enemies because they're inconsistent hitboxes, and you saw how much damage I took from the boss hits, so all that extra health was super useful. So that's the end of floor 5. Boy, this was kind of a crazy room. It started out fine for most of the room, but once I got to the boss fight, things got really serious. At the very least, I survived, and I'm all the way set for the final boss encounter, hopefully. Which I will be covering in the next part, or the one after this part because of how long some of the floors can get. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!